AM 1060 WMEL. The views expressed on the following program are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and are not necessarily those of WMEL staff, management, or advertisers.
Welcome, everyone, to the radio arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard. My name is Kay Kaiser. My official title is the Information Specialist for Helping Seniors of Brevard. And I'm sitting in for Joe Steckler today because new television programs are being recorded as we speak. So I want to welcome, I've got a unique guest here today by the name of Carla Pickerill, who's got a really I'm going to say unique again in that term, type of business. But before we get to that, what makes it possible for Helping Seniors of Brevard to get out and reach our listening audience are our partners? And let me go through a few of them for you. Aldea Today, Barbara McIntyre, she is a CSA Home Equity Retirement Specialist. Canadian Meds of Melbourne, Clear Channel Outdoor, Courtney and Braswell Financial Group, Ebony News Today, Ear Care, Handy Pro of the Space Coast, Hometown News, Kindred at Home, Levin Home Care Nurse Registry, and today we'll get back to the rest of our list, but our newest partner here, Organized Creative Designs, with the owner, Carla Pickerill. Welcome, Carla.
Thanks, Kay. Thanks for having me.
I want to put a shout out, too, to anyone who may have a question for Carla Pickerill. You're welcome to call in to the radio program today, and that is 321-241-1060. And I'm sure Carla would be more than happy to try to answer any questions you may. So with that being said, I'd like to start out by asking Carla Pickerill, how did you come up with this concept? How did you form Organized Creative Design, rather?
Well, I've been a registered nurse for the last 30 years, and I basically just moved here from California. And my friends always teased me that I was obsessive compulsive because my house was always immaculate, very well organized. So after 30 years in healthcare, I decided to take my nursing skills and my organizational skills and combine the two.
Excellent. What a unique concept. So when you see a potential client, you go in and basically initially do an assessment with them?
Yes, I do. It depends on specifically what they need. Like right now I'm working with two clients, and they're both having issues with organizing their paperwork, organizing their bills, their payment systems, and they just get flooded with mail and newspapers and magazines, and they decide they're going to keep everything, and then it just snowballs, and at that time they're just so overwhelmed with that they decide they need some help.
Well, I know that you already received a referral from us.
Yes, I did.
And I think that I know when I spoke to the caller, the woman that called in, she was telling me how she was married to a veteran, and the fact that her husband, I think, passed away more than 20 years ago, if I recall.
21.
Yeah. And he had instructed her to hold on to all that paperwork. And I thought, uh-oh, I can just imagine a single lady living by herself having to deal with piles, and I'm sure piles of paperwork. So how did that go? Share with the listening audience.
Yeah, I met the client yesterday, and yes, she has boxes and boxes and boxes, and she also has a lot of treasures, at the age at the age of 83, you go through life and you collect possessions and treasures, and not only does she have that, but and the paperwork, but she also loves clothes. And so we were working on cleaning off her bed yesterday so she could sleep on a bed instead of the couch.
Oh, mercy.
And we spent 2 hours just organizing her master walk-in closet.
Wow. Wow. And I know that a lot of seniors out there who are listening to the program today are thinking, Well, I've been thinking about getting rid of that, but they're still holding on to it. And I know from my previous experience working for a retirement community, that was one of the hardest things, when they scale down and they come into maybe an independent, or let's say they even have to go to assisted living, unfortunately. They think of all this sentimental stuff that has such a personal relationship and memory for them, and they don't want to give it up.
Yeah, I find that all the time. And one of the tools that I use is I develop different ways of keeping that memory, whether it's taking pictures of the possession and putting them in photo albums.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Or, for instance, if their wedding day was very, very special, taking part of their wedding dress, maybe the tiara that they wear with their veil, a napkin, an invitation, and you put it in a shadow box.
There you
and
go.
It still gives them the semblance of a memory, but they don't have the entire item.
Right. Or the whole collection, which is taking up space.
Exactly.
Well, I understand too, Carla Pickerill, that you do a lot of coaching, maybe in talking with the clients too, and trying to help them. Maybe once you leave and you've done a position, where you've gotten them organized. How can they keep that up in their own mindset now?
Basically, I give them tools to keep themselves organized. For instance, if it's right now I'm working with a lady who hasn't filed her taxes for the last 3 years. So we're going through and we're finding all of her 1099s and all of her bank statements and her medical bills and her prescription costs. And we're going back a few years.
Wow.
And to develop a system where when you're getting these things, you just have a folder that has that year, and you just say, okay, this can be tax deductible. I'm going to throw it in. I'm going to put it in the drawer,
right?
Or I put it in the file. Everybody feels that they also need to keep their paper bills, and there's really no need to keep them once you pay them. Right. There is a record if you are computer knowledgeable. There's a way to do that online.
And there's so much being paid online these days.
Exactly. And the seniors are so a lot of them are very computer savvy, but they don't really think about that organizational system that you have on the computer. Right.
You can create a folder for all of that, bill paying and all of that. So you're really not taking up a folder physical space. And on the bright side of that, positive, is the fact we're not tearing down trees for more paper.
Exactly.
So I think that there is definitely a need for what you do, Carla Pickerill, and I encourage anybody who would like to learn more about your services. Let's go ahead and give our listening audience your telephone number.
Okay, it's 321-431-9664.
Okay. Say it again.
321-431-9664.
And I understand you also have a website.
I do. It's ocd-organizer.com.
Excellent. All right. And if you didn't have your pencil or pen handy when Carla gave you that information, by all means, call me at Helping Seniors of Brevard, and our telephone number is 321-473-7770. And we'll be more than happy to that's what we do. We do not only just the outreach media through radio, television, our print, our newsletter, to try to educate people and maybe spark a chord in the fact that, wait a minute, I really have been thinking I've got to get organized. This is coming at a perfect time. A lot of people think about, well, spring's coming up. It's time to spring clean. What a great time to get this whole process in order.
Definitely. We can purge all the clutter and do some house cleaning and freshen up the home for summer.
There we go. There we go. What a perfect timing on this. Well, I would think that because of your background as an RN, that your clients knowing that in itself would feel more trusting, more comfortable because of your healthcare background, that you could probably, I bet, people were asking you, now what can I do? I need a little hands-on help here. I need a little bit of this, a little bit of that, now that you've got me organized. Why don't you elaborate a little bit on that aspect?
Well, basically, I also consider myself a senior care consultant. For the last 20 years, I was an RN case manager in a hospital.
Oh, wow.
And I was developing discharge plans for seniors that were in acute care in conjunction with their family and their physician. So I was very familiar with when a senior needed home health care, whether it be a home health aide or a physical therapist or an occupational therapist. And then I also worked for 7 years in home health care. And so I was in the home setting with patients. And I would look at systems. Let's say a senior went from being totally independent and had a fall and broke a hip and now has to use a walker or a wheelchair.
Right.
So I would go in and develop systems so that they could reach the items that they need. I mean, sometimes when you're independent, you've got your coffee cups on the top shelf.
That you can't reach, that's right.
And then now you're in a wheelchair and you can't reach that, or you have problems getting in and out of the bathtub or the shower.
Right.
So many plans are based around inpatient care, and a lot of seniors don't have an acute care illness that needs them to go to the hospital.
Right.
So I also have the tools for that. So if a senior needed a bath bench or needed a raised toilet seat or something like that, right, I could contact the physician and talk to him not only as a professional organizer, but also as an RN, senior care consultant.
Well, that makes me come to mind, too. One of our more recent affiliates here is Handy Pro, the Space Coast. And that, I'm going to have to connect the two of you here.
Okay.
Because she started her background was an engineer at the Space Center. And when the shuttle shut down and everything, she got involved in purchasing a franchise, and it's called Handy Pro of the Space Coast. And what they do is safety modifications for seniors specifically. So like you were talking about, if somebody needed a ramp or somebody needed more than just grab bars, they need things brought down to their level. That's kind of her expertise and what she's associating and trying to make a name for herself in. So it seems like our partners just all network together here. I'm really very positive about all the different ones that we have and the different skills that you bring to the table and professionalism. I can't emphasize enough. I just think that your background being an RN, it certainly would make me feel a lot more comfortable having someone come in who's an, senior citizen, and for those who may be frail and everything, that you can see maybe things that they can't see. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I would love to meet that other business sponsor that you have.
I will introduce you. I'll make a point of that. I'll make a point. And for those who might be just tuning in, my name is Kay Kaiser with Helping Seniors of Brevard. Joe is doing some additional new television taping today, so we're proud to take his spot and be able to bring to you an interesting radio program with Carla Pickerill, who has started a company called Organized Creative Design. What do you think, Carla, in your assessment? Does it take generally about a couple hours to really, look at what needs to be done, or do you dive right in?
Well, it depends on what actually the client needs. The last two clients that I've had, their home environment was, they had clear traffic, safe ways to get through their house, but they were just having specific problems with paper organization and clothing.
Right.
So actually, I just dove right in, talked to them about what their priorities were, dove right in and started. And then gave them ideas on how to continue. And then I've called them. I follow up with them, see how they're progressing, and then I'll be meeting with them next week to continue to either work with them one-on-one or coach them.
Excellent. Well, you're really kind of focusing on seniors, I would say. You're being primary market. Would that be correct?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And I think because what you had given me in some key points, too, you're caring and compassionate, along with an assertive communication to those seniors. I think that's a great way to really sum that up.
Yeah, I've learned that in my nursing career. So many times families identify that the senior isn't doing as well as he or she could. Their mobility is more limited. Their memory they're getting a little more forgetful.
Right.
But as the children of these parents, they're very reluctant in broaching the subject. And as a case manager, there's been times when I've had 5 adult males standing around a bed and little mama's in the bed and they're crying, and I'm explaining to her that, Mrs. So-and-so, it's time that you need some help. And these 5 grown sons just couldn't bring themselves to tell mom.
And that's really a shame when you think about it, because it's only in her best interest that things are put in order. And Carla, I can't tell you how many callers that I receive where there's simply no planning. There's no planning, no long-term care insurance, finding surviving spouses who are married to a veteran that are entitled to maybe some benefits there. And people, especially, I'm going to talk about the aid and attendance program. They need help bathing now at this point. They don't want to move into an assisted living that. They want to be able to. The trend is believing that seniors really want to age with dignity in their own homes.
Exactly. And
their trend also in Brevard County is that our baby boomers have entered the senior market. And if you go by AARP standards, we're looking about 1 in every 2 people residing in Brevard County that are in that category. So that trend is going to be much stronger, and I think that you have picked a niche that is going to absolutely grow. And I think that once people know about you and your service and everything, that they're going to be calling me and say, "What was that lady's name?" And again, if we couldn't remember it, just call Helping Seniors of Brevard. I return all calls. And we have a backup system. I know Joe Steckler has talked about this many times. So if I'm on the other line, it goes to voicemail. And guess what? Not only do I get it in my email, Joe Steckler gets it in an email, and our media, Carrie Fink, gets it. So we have a tremendous backup because we feel very strong that everyone who is bold enough, and I'm going to say sometimes it takes, I had a caller yesterday say, "I've been thinking about calling you. I cut out this article 6 months ago, but I just couldn't bring myself to pick up the phone to call." And I said, "Well, what took you so long?" She said, "I guess I was just afraid." And, you're relating to the lady with the adult sons and everything and really not communicating with mother. It's a fear factor. There's things that are changing now. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago. So, Carla Pickerill, I think that, with your background and everything, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of stories to share with us in the future.
I'm sure I will.
Well, if anybody has a question to ask Carla, would like to go on the air, we don't have to have a name or anything. You can remain anonymous, but she would welcome any callers today. You can call the station direct at 321-241-1060, and she'll be happy to take your call and see if there's anything she could do to try to help guide you through organizing you as well. So, Carla, before we go to break, we've got about a couple minutes here.
Okay.
I want to pick up on a few other things in the second half of the show, but at the same time, I think that you had actually gone to school to become a professional organizer, or took courses. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. I took a course that actually lasted for a year. And I learned, not only specific organizing techniques, but also floor planning, decorating.
Wow.
It was it was more comprehensive than I thought it was going to be, and it was a lot harder than I thought. But it was definitely worth it. Definitely.
Well, here again, that's got another feather in your hat with your background. And I think you're just not coming up with a concept here of organizing, but you went through a course to become more qualified as a professional organizer.
Yes, I did. I learned a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I was actually organized before I took the course, but I'm really organized now.
I can imagine what your friends say about you now, huh?
Oh, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when they come out from California. I launched 3 weeks ago, so we're just in the process.
Well, stay with us, folks. We're going to pick up and talking to Carla Pickerill with Organized Creative Designs again in our second half, and I'm sure she'll be able to share a lot more insight about what a professional organizer is all about. We'll be back in just a few minutes, so stay with us. We look forward to continuing, and for those who are just tuning in, Helping Seniors, 473-7770. Call us anytime. We'll return those calls. We're here to help. Not just the radio and reaching out to you today, but we're going to be your number one resource here to get you in touch with the right resources. So we look forward to continuing our second half. Stick with us. We'll be back very shortly.
Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AM1060 WMEL.
Welcome back. We're going into our second half of our radio arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard. My name is Kay Kaiser. I am the information specialist for Helping Seniors of Brevard. Mr. Joe Steckler is busy today taping new television programs. So we've got a lot going on here in one day here. So besides our calls and people that we're dealing with and everything is continuing here. So we've been listening to myself speaking with Carla Pickerill today. She is the owner of a new company called Organized Creative Design, and she has decided that she wanted to be affiliated with Helping Seniors of Brevard. So hats off on what she does. We'll learn a lot more about her business here. So before we go there, I also want to mention some of our other partners that make this radio program possible. Peaceful Beach Mediation, Riverview Senior Resort, Senior Scene Magazine, Seniors Helping Seniors, Mr. Dr. Lee Sheldon, Spotlight Magazine, the Eye Institute, the Fountains of Melbourne, Vitas Innovative Hospice Care of Brevard, Mr. William A. Johnson, Elder Law Attorney. Of course, always special thanks to the radio station WMEL, AM 1060 Radio, and Wusthof Health Systems. So with that being said, I am finding really some unique, different things that can help a lot of people in our community. And with Carla Pickerill being our guest here today, starting up a company called Organized Creative Designs. If you just happen to tune in and you missed the first part of the program, let's reiterate, if we could, Carla, what a professional organizer is.
Well, basically, a professional organizer achieves what many people can't do for themselves, and that's get organized. So many people live in chaos and clutter, and as a result, their Their life is chaos, and I put a sense of sanity in that life.
Well, it reminds me, I know they've had some shows on TV where the senior ladies, she's got boxes up to the ceiling and walking through just a pathway to get to her bedroom. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Not quite that bad, but almost.
Okay.
Almost to the ceiling.
Well, I find that especially if somebody's in their, I want to put in the 80s, like you just had that referral from us, and they've gone through an awful lot in their lifetime and sentimentally attached to a lot of the things that they've acquired. And to say, okay, I am not as healthy, I can't be as mobile as I used to be, I need to really consider downsizing. And that's got to be heartbreaking for a lot of seniors because they're so emotionally attached to stuff. And yet they realize, and the family members are now speaking to them that, hey, Mom, I'm Dad, you don't need this environment. It's not the best healthy environment for you at this age. And with your RN background, I'm sure that you can relate to that and help guide them throughout the process, correct?
Yes, I can. In fact, that's actually one of my specialties. What I would do is go into the house that they've lived in for 40 or 50 years. Right. That is loaded with their possessions. And part of the problem that seniors have is, what do I get rid of? Each item has a feeling or a memory.
Oh, yeah.
That's attached to them. And for them to even think about getting rid of it. And a lot of people think, I'm just going to throw it away. And that just kills them, just crushes them. But there's other things that you can do with that. You could... a lot of times seniors don't think that their family members or, the younger generations would be interested in having grandma and grandpa's or great grandma and grandpa's possessions. But what I have found is as the grandchildren and great grandchildren are growing up, they also have memories of grandma using the china at holidays.
Right.
And they would be really surprised to find out how much their treasures would be treasured by their future generations.
And some of that stuff has got some great value to it.
It does.
It's getting into the antique, now.
Exactly.
Discontinued china patterns. You can go on eBay and look and see how people are selling a bowl from a discontinued china set in order to complete grandma's set.
Exactly. So what I would do is I would go into the home and I would discuss exactly what the senior would have to have, what treasures they could not absolutely part with.
Right.
And then I would, whatever furniture they decided they wanted, then I would go into the smaller home and basically develop a floor plan.
I was going to say, so now that you're visiting, let's paint a picture here if we may. You go into their where they're living now, and say someone's got a 1,600 square foot home, and they're going to be moving into an 800 square foot apartment. That's half of the space. So that I like your concept there. You can come back after visiting where they're going to be moving and downsizing to and say, okay, this absolutely will not fit.
Exactly.
Okay. Right?
Or this will fit, and this is how it will fit. So I would measure the furniture, measure the rooms, and basically develop a floor plan. And then also, in addition to that, maximize that 800 square foot space with organizational tools that I've learned in order to keep it safe and clutter-free and comfortable and harmonious for that senior to live in, so that they're comfortable. They still feel like they still have their nest.
Right. That's so important. As I mentioned before, somebody that's in their 80s, they've acquired so much stuff over the years. But giving it and passing it down to the generations, they're not really getting rid of it. It's going to someone is a blood relative who can have fond memories, like you say. Grandma always used this china at Thanksgiving. So.
Yeah, I have my grandmother's crystal, and I have her silverware, and each holiday I bring it out, and she's with me.
There you go.
And she's with the family.
And so that's even more sentimental.
It is very sentimental.
I can relate to that. Well, if you're just tuning in, my name is Kay Kaiser, the Information Specialist with Helping Seniors of Brevard, and our telephone number is 321-473-7770, and today's guest is Carla Pickerill, who has a company called Organized Creative Designs. And I think you're kind of getting the gist that she has got something that is going to be, I think your business is going to explode. Because I think once people know about you and what you do, and I want to pick up something, too, that you said to me that you really have a desire to give back to the community. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I think with my nursing background, there's this feeling of caring. And my family always taught me to, whatever I receive, if I give back, it even means even more to me.
Oh, I agree.
And seniors are, sometimes I feel like they're really they're the neglected population. They're like the silent population.
I have a lot of callers who express their feelings about that too. Yes.
So I do want to give back to the community. I'm willing to work with seniors that have limited
resources.
Yes, limited resources. Thank you. And so I would be willing to do a sliding scale and work with seniors, because my feeling is if I give to them, then my karma will be rewarded.
There you go. And chances are they probably will recommend someone else to you too, I would think.
Well, that's probably true too.
Yeah. So see, what goes around comes around.
Yes, it
so
does.
That's definitely good karma.
Yes, it is. And also, I am looking for volunteers. I would like to do some pro bono work. So I am looking for some volunteers that could go in and actually do the work that I would go in and supervise, because I think there's a great need in the community for that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, how can someone get in touch with you?
They can call me at 321-431-9664. Or they can go to my website, ocd-organizer.com. There is a contact page.
Okay.
And I always return my emails.
Excellent. And if you didn't get that, just call Helping Seniors of Brevard at 473-7770. We'll be sure to get that information to you. I think that you talked about volunteers, but you told me that you have I want to say, mentor? Healthcare student?
Oh, yes. When I was a nursing student, I had seasoned nurses take me under their wing, and I learned so much. And over the years in working in the hospital, I really enjoyed taking the student nurses and mentoring them for their clinicals. And one of the things that I want to do and am doing is that I am mentoring. Currently, I'm mentoring a student that goes to Eastern Florida. university. And she wants to get into occupational therapy.
Oh, very good.
She has shadowed an occupational therapist approximately 200 hours. She's still taking a prerequisites. And she is going to be applying for occupational therapy school.
Excellent.
So that's really exciting for me to give back in professional organizing. For those that don't know what an occupational therapist does, it's a therapist that helps people that have disabilities.
Right.
You know, they educate them in their activities of daily living. So that is very exciting for me.
That sounds like it goes hands in hand with what you're doing.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Aspen couldn't be here today. She's out of town, but she's very excited in working with me and with the seniors in the community.
Excellent, excellent. What a great relationship. I think that's going to explode, too, for you. I think maybe Aspen being your first, and other people are going to find out about your business called Organized Creative Designs and say, wait a minute, this lady was an RN. She's got this business. What if I shadow her? I think I'm going to learn so much. And so that is exciting, you know, and the fact that you're willing to work with the seniors. If someone who's extremely limited income, who needs help, just like the lady you said, you work out, you'll to your best of your, service, work out a deal with them.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't want to turn anyone away that needs the help.
That's your heart talking for you.
It is my heart. It's my calling.
There you go. Well, if anybody was looking at, with all the things that they have over the years they acquired, do you ever recommend, taking things to an auction or a garage sale or donating things that, how do you work all that out a little bit?
Well, I would talk to the senior and find out who their charities are.
Okay, good idea.
For instance, yesterday I spoke to my senior, and she had some clothes that she wanted to donate and some purses. And so she liked the idea of giving them to one particular charity. So I loaded it in my car and dropped it off on the way home. So it's basically, I want the senior to feel good about where their possessions are going. If they want to do an estate sale or, that.
We're looking to bring an estate sale person in. Okay?
Good. Yeah, I'm going to probably need
You'll need to be in staying touch here with us.
Yes, I think so.
Definitely.
So I'll have to do that. But like an estate sale or a garage sale, things like that, I can assist with.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. Well, there's so many different avenues that a person can take, and with you consolidating, from a big down to a smaller and less chaotic way of life. I think about some of these people who use a rollator, who keep things on the floor, for goodness sakes, They're just an accident waiting to happen, in my opinion. So, it's real important that a senior, especially if they become a little more frail, the risk of falling, it's simply not worth holding on to that item that is causing a potential problem for you and for your health.
Yeah, definitely. The risk of falling is the greatest risk that a senior can have.
Absolutely. I have heard story after story after story and I've seen different videos on home modification and things to look out. Like, for example, a throw rug.
Yes, definitely.
Ooh. Or maybe leaving the dishwasher open, and just, there's all these things. And with your expertise as a professional organizer, I'm sure could point out as potential risk. Wouldn't you agree, Carla?
Yes, definitely. For instance, yesterday, getting that bedroom cleaned for my client, she had boxes and she was, like I said, she was sleeping on the couch. And, I got that cleared off and the bed was made. And then I was looking at, well, if she has to go to the restroom in the middle of the night.
Right.
So I had to clear a pathway for her. And she really didn't understand what I was doing right away. Mm-hmm. And so I had to explain to her about the risk, this risk of falling.
Right.
And so many seniors feel like it's never going to happen to me. And within a split second, you're in trouble.
Right. And then it's too late. And it just makes me so sad because people think that, hey, you're right, it's not going to happen to me. But then they take a tumble. I always recommend for a senior, if they are living alone, what is their action plan if they do take a fall? They don't have the phone nearby. For goodness sakes, get a medical alert. At least have someone, check on you. And oftentimes it doesn't have to go to a 911 call. It could be to a neighbor simply to come in and check. But that potential of falling out there, and for the seniors that hold on to just too much stuff, you got to think in terms that it's just not worth it, Carla.
Exactly.
They've got to really come to a reality check and say, and I'm sure that sometimes you have to work with a daughter or son and say, look, Mom is not listening to me, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I also find a lot of seniors here, especially in this day and age, the children they live in another state.
Exactly.
And they're here alone. Their spouse has died. And they're depending on their friends who are the same age.
Right.
And, so many times I hear, I just can't keep up with it anymore.
Right, exactly.
I can't take care of my house. I can't take the garbage out.
I got calls like that too. I had one just called last week regarding, I cannot physically take that out to the street. I need someone to do that for me. And I thought, okay, do you have family members? Well, no, don't. And there's so many, especially in Brevard County, we get a lot of people moving from the Midwest, the Northeast, who, first of all, initially may have come down for a vacation here and say, wow, this is pretty nice. I think I'll consider living here full time. And then the family members are, back in the Midwest or the Northeast or wherever. So it's really important to have a plan and to be organized, especially as we age. You want to be able to age with dignity. You don't want a chaotic lifestyle.
No, definitely.
It's just not worth it. And plus the safety aspect of being organized versus taking a tumble. Well, I really enjoy speaking to you, Carla Pickerill, the owner of Organized Creative Designs. And if you didn't get her number, just call her office at 473-7770, and we'll put you in touch with her, and she'll make a change in your life that I think you'll sit back and say, why didn't I do this earlier?
I have had a lot of, I walk into a house and they're frustrated and they're angry and they're anxious, and I sit down, I talk to them, and we come up with a plan, and we start implementing the plan, and they're so relieved.
That's got to be a relief.
Yes, it is. And it may just be something small.
Yeah, and it could be a relief for the son and daughter, too, knowing that mom and dad are not living in that chaotic situation of having everything in the way. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on the air with us today. You've been listening to Kay Kaiser, the information specialist for helping seniors of Brevard. Feel free to call us anytime at 473-7770. We'll put you in touch with hopefully the appropriate resources. Thank you, Carla Pickerill, for being our guest today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.